was a pretty bad weather night. In fact, one of the worst weathers we've had in a long time here in Illinois. However, I was at that time an executive for a social work agency, and so I had to take food out to my client and my staff who were shut into the office because most of everything had shut down. I was headed up a hill to a stoplight, and all of a sudden a car, Toyota Camry I think, turned too late right in front of me, and I hit the passenger wheel pretty significantly because I didn't have any time to stop. Then everybody came, and we all went to the hospital and got checked out. I think the biggest part for me was I was kind of on daddy adrenaline, making sure not just my daughter, but the young lady who was young too was okay. Come to find out over many, many months and many, many visits to doctors and the hospitals, I had a significant concussion. So there was definitely depression, anxiety going on. Also, I didn't sleep well. There were long periods of insomnia. I think the other piece was eating. I would just say I'm not hungry, based upon my whole body was focusing either on the pain I was going through or I was focusing on the emotions I was going through. I ended up losing my job because even though I was on short-term disability, which got approved, and then I went back finally when they were telling me they had to put somebody else in my position, I was like, I'm going to force myself back. And that lasted about 6 months. But as soon as the workers' comp case closed, I immediately terminated legal representation for them or with them, and really decided to call somebody I had worked with before in the social work area. So I retained him and he started working on it. And he called me, he said quickly, it was pretty quickly, he said, Kevin, I can't, I don't think, dig into this and represent you well. However, I'm going to have you engage Jim LaFonte because this is his specialty. And if anybody's going to treat you right and know what to do in this situation, it's going to be Jim. My first impressions was that this is not a highfalutin office. They just are so real and just so down to earth. And what I figured very quickly was that's a testament to how they interact with regular people who are in distress. And the other piece is that Jim was very consistently asking about my emotional health and my physical recovery, and that was something I hadn't experienced with the other attorney. One thing I recognized when I was seeking representation is that there's not a lot of minority representation, and therefore I really struggled with how are they going to really prioritize me. As a minority, we're always thinking about how are people going to perceive us and how are they going to treat us. Some law offices, that's how they're going to see clients, but not LaFonte. So in then talking with and working with Jim's office, I felt seen. Working with his staff, his administrative staff, were absolutely amazing. Any questions I had, any documents I wanted to see, they would send me right away. I gotta give props to Linda, who oversees so much of his work, that anytime that I needed something from Linda, she was on it within 24 hours. And that blew my mind. I am not his only client, right? And so I was so impressed. Driving here, like I said, I drove around a car accident and wanted to pass out his card, right? With my background in youth services, in both education and in business and social services, I often think of that quote, and I'm not going to get it right, but it only takes one person to change a life forever. And I often think about what would my life be like if I hadn't chose Jim and was still on this, journey to try to get some sense of closure from this accident.